Hello everyone, Equipment Warrior. Welcome to my updated version of my custom crit ranger. So I'm gonna do the usual. I'm gonna go over my passive skill tree, and then I'm gonna talk about my gear and the gems I'm using. I'm gonna start with my skill tree. I'm going to show some gameplay later on when I test some of the various bows. So I'm starting as a ranger, of course. I start by taking the evasion and life notes here to take to fitness. And before I went anywhere else, I took this projectile damage here. I also take the attack speed, because you want attack speed when you're using a custom crit build, so attack speed is really important. And I took ballistic mastery, which are benefiting both your arrows, which are starting the custom crit, and also powers up many of your projectile spells as well. I have Heart of Oak for that increase life and life regen, which are always useful, and actually the increased stun recovery is also really helpful. Then I went down here, went this way. I'm going to have a link in the description to where I can find the build and look for yourselves later if you want. I took this life here. I took King of the Hill. The reason I went all the way here is because King of the Hill is an amazing crit. Increased critical strike chance for bow 80%. That's a very powerful thing. It's a very good note. Then I went down here to take Lichery. It's a really nice note. I have Essence up just to get life back. What I'm saying, get mana back when I'm hitting enemies with my bows, which actually helps out. It's a really nice note. I have Herbalism. I took Accuracy, which are increasing my accuracy, of course, and also giving some attack speed. I have Heart Seeker, which actually buffs buffing my spells as well, which are really nice. Also these critical strike notes here, which are really nice. I have Survivalist, because Survivalists are awesome, and it's a really good defensive note. I am an evasion build, so I have acrobatics, all these acrobatics improvements, and phase acrobatics. And I went up here to the shadow area, to the new improved part of the skill tree. I have depth perception, even more increased accuracy, also giving some dexterity, and some crit chance. All of these three notes here, which are really nice. I have this life note here, and this life note, and this life note. I have Sniper to increase my projectile damage and also my projectile speed. I have Nullification for increased defensive bonuses. Giving some good evasion rating, even giving some life and some elemental resistance, which are always nice. Also giving some energy shield, which I'm not using. I have Elemental Focus, which actually increases my spells damage. It's pretty much the whole idea why I take this. Why I took this one. I have Assassination and all of these small crit notes here. I have Trickstery, same thing, increase my spell damage, which because it increases my elemental damage. Give me some intelligence, which are really nice, and also some crit chance. And I have Bloodskull Siphon. I have Coordination. Now these attack notes here. I'm going to take this one when I level up again. I can also take this one, this note here, elemental damage note, which are increasing my spells damage. And you can do this build as a shadow, if you want. So one of the new things here, I have Grow and Decay, which are, I only took this one for that increased life regeneration. But if you're gonna use the new skill, which are a Chaos spell, one of the new Chaos spells, this one may actually be useful. I have not tried the Chaos spell yet myself, but I'm definitely going to try it out and see what's happened. I have Doomcast, and I took the Spell Critical Strike Multiplier side of it. And I have Written in Blood. And all this life and energy note here. That's pretty much my skill tree. Then again, if you have any question about the skill tree and my choices, please ask me in the comments and I will be happy to answer them. So let's go to our gear. The first of all, as you can, the first I'm gonna talk about I'm going to show off the bows I'm using. I'm going to show off them later in this game here. I'm going to show them in a gameplay later on. But the 3 bows I'm recommending for this build, which I find the most good. I can start with one of the cheapest one, which are Doomfletch, which are one of the old bows I used to use in this build. I'm using this bow just for that it has some decent crit chance. It has 7%. It has good attack speed. It's overall a pretty good bow to use, and actually give you some mana regeneration, which actually are pretty helpful. So it's a good bow overall and very cheap to get. Next one we have Quill Rain, which again is a really cheap bow actually. The reason you're gonna use this bow is because it has insane attack speed. You can see that attacks per second. It is 3.00. It's a very fast bow. It's actually the fastest weapon in the entire freaking game. You also have a very high amount of increased projectile speed, so your spell will hit the enemy like right away. And finally, the most expensive alternative to the bows, at least as I know, it is Wind Ripple. It have a very good critical strike chance, as you can see though. It have good attack speed, and then it have all sorts of wonderful things like increased item quantity for items dropped by slain frozen enemies, and another thing by shocked enemies, which are increased item variety. I'm using Rat's Nest as my helmet. It's a really good helmet. It's not that cheap, but it costs a couple of chaos. I think like 10 chaos, but don't take that for granted. It can be more or less. I have this really defensive amulet here. Give me mana, it gives me intelligence, it gives me life, it gives me all of the resistance. It's a really good amulet. And this one I bought for like 1 or 2 chaos, but I don't really remember. And it can be as this amulet that was that cheap, because this amulet should cost more. I have a quiver. If you're gonna get a quiver, get one with crit multiplier and a crit chance. That's the most important one. If you can get someone with life, that's a really good bonus as well. I have this defensive ring here, which is not the best ring at all. You can probably get a much better ring in this one, but this is what I happen to have. I have this crit ring here. It is a diamond ring, and if you can, get this one as a diamond ring as well. Another ring, so you have 2 diamond rings. And if you can again, get the amulet as well with crit chance. With crit chance and crit multiplier on. And the same go for all the rings. This ring here, nothing special, yes, a defensive ring. It's better than this one, but you can get much better one. Here we have one of the more expensive items, which I'm never gonna learn how to pronounce that as in my other videos, and I'm using this one. They are not that good defense, they give some attack speed anyway, but they have really good crit chance and good multiplier. But this can be really expensive, like 15 chaos orbs and upward, so it can be a really expensive piece of gear. You don't must have them, but I'm really recommending it. Another glove you can use is actually Facebreaker. Even it sounds crazy, but Facebreaker actually have a really high critical strike multiplier, so you can actually use Facebreaker instead of this one, and Facebreaker is a little bit cheaper. And I'm using this belt here, again a really good defensive belt. Give me all the things I pretty need. It actually gives me some good amount of life, all the resist, and even give me some chaos resist. And actually we take this one first. This is my boots. This is just, it's not the best boots again. They have good armor, it has good evasion, it have good life, and some good resistance, but it doesn't have any movement speed, which would be optimal. And finally I come to my most expensive piece of gear I have, which are this 6-linked armor here. You don't have to have a 6-link, you can have like a 5-link, but it will limit the amount of spells you can put up. With a 6-link you can have like 3 different spells you can put out, at least with this setup. But if you want the cheapest alternative to a 6-linked armor, try to get a Shabran's, and what I'm saying, try to get a Tabarasha armor. You can see that I have it on the screen there, so yes, you can show it. That's a really good armor. It's not that expensive, but it will cost a couple of chaos. I think about 20 of them, so it's not extremely expensive, but you need to do some savings to get out of it, if you not already have that chaos. And so, now I'm gonna talk about my gems, and if we're talking spells, you're pretty much free to try out the spell combination you have the most fun with, and you think the most powerful. But before I'm gonna go my spell the spells I'm using, I actually have a custom crit strike. Try to level it up as soon as possible, so you can get this as high level as possible. Mine is level 19. I'm using a level 1 barrage. Remember that it must be a level 1. If you go in any higher level 1, you don't need a physical damage from it. And if you go in higher level 1, it will start to increase in mana cost, and that's not a good thing. And I'm using a greater multiple projectiles. You don't have to have greater multiple projectiles, that depends on what spell you're gonna use. If you're gonna use a spell which are not a projectile, like for example discharge, just as an example, you don't need this one. The spells I'm currently using, it is Arctic Breath, Freezing Pulse, and Fireball. But you can pretty much have whatever spell you want and what spell you think are the most fun. I have another video on when I try out some different spells, and even some of the newer spells can be really interesting, and I've not tried it out yet. I'm actually using one Clarity Aura to get my mana back, because it can be a little bit mana hungry, especially if you're using this bow here. I also have a Summoning Ice Golem. Yeah, just leveling this one up, but sometimes I'm using it to get some increased accuracy and even some crit chance. I have a blink arrow for movement and get out bad situations, which are really helpful. I'm really recommending having a blink arrow setup. I also using Grace for some that increase defensive and increase dodge chance. Evasion chance, sorry. Also have some other spells I'm leveling up, like a Temple Chain. I just leveling up right now. And I have a faster attack, also I also leveling up. I have another setup on Custom Crit, which are for a pure physical Custom Crit setup, which are Barrage, a level 12 Barrage this time, but I don't care about that mana cost this time. I have slower projectiles, Ethereal Knife, which actually are the spell I'm casting with this setup, and I have a Custom Critical Strike, of course. And that's pretty much my setup for games, so I'm gonna go to show off some gameplay now with the different bows. So let's try out our different bows. I'm going to try out the 3 different bows I had, as I said before. I'm going to start with the cheapest one, which are Doom Flare. And I'm going to try it out on this map here. This is just a level 70 map. I think it was a tier 4 map, just to try it out. And as you can see, it just wrecks everything in seconds. And this is the cheapest bow, and everyone pretty much have enough currency to buy this bow. And you can see just how powerful it is. I have no problem killing these enemies. And you can play around with the setups. This was the setup I showed earlier, and there are a lot of setups, and this is not even the most efficient one if you go for efficiency, but again, check out my other video for spell setups. But let's try out some of the other bows, shall we? Now let's take not the most cheapest one, but let's take the most fun one to use, which actually are Quill Rain. This is one of the more insane bows due to its really high attack speed, as you can see now. You can see how fast I can shoot. I'm actually running out of mana, but when I'm shooting enemies I got mana back. As you can see, it doesn't have as much crit chance as the other bow have. It actually only have 5 in crit chance, which actually give it really bad crit chance, but a really high firing speed. You can see how fast I'm shooting, and the fact that I have amazingly high projectile speed right now with this one. And actually it doesn't matter that much, because you can just spam arrows at the enemies and they just die. And you can see this bow working really well, but again, it have much lower crit chance, so you're going to take a little bit while between the crits, because it only have 5 crit chance bow. But again, as you can see, it's a really powerful bow. So kill his enemies and then you're gonna move on. There we go. So, and as you can see as well, when I'm using a blink arrow with it, you can see how fast blink arrow is. It's an almost instantly teleport. So let's take the most expensive bow and more. Wind Reaper. This is a non-legacy version of Wind Reaper. The legacy version can have, I think it was about 10 crit chance, which are much better than this one, but Wind Reaper become cheaper, so it's much more affordable now, but I think it costs like 3 Exalted Orb, which are still a pretty hefty price, especially for the beginners. So I really recommend starting with Doomfledge, which are really easy to trade with some other peoples. You can even write it in the trade chat and hope that someone will answer you, or maybe actually gonna find it, who knows. But it's not that expensive to get. But this bow is relatively expensive, but it's the most reliable one due to its really high crit chance, and it's good, what are we gonna call it now, it's good firing speed. But again, it is the most critting bow, as you can see. Pretty much all my attack will crit the enemies. And that's pretty much everything for bow. If you have any question about the build, as always, please ask me in the comments. And if it are something I missed in my video, again, please ask me in comments, and I will be happy to answer them. And again, if you're wondering on the spells I'm using, I put a link in the description to where you can find my other videos when I try out some different spells. But remember, that video is before the update, so it's not the new update, but the spell should work just as it's doing right now. But they're going to be a little bit underpowered as they are right now. Anyway, hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care everyone, and thanks for watching.